Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am starting on episode 3 here. I've actually spent an entire day since the last episode, Minecraft day that is. I just went and mined a whole bunch of stone. You can see I've got, what's that, 8 stacks. Went through about 3 or 4 picks to get all of it, but didn't figure there was any sense in making you watch it, so I just went and picked that up. I'll actually show you where I got it, just so you can see the progress I'm making. I dug out the entrance area to the mine, at least. This was the cave that I had discovered. That was down in here. I actually dug the floor out, I think 2 levels down, and squared off the whole room. This was jutting out to about here or so. I haven't actually gone down there yet. I figure I'll wait until I build some ladders or stone or whatever, or I may get bored and just decide to cut my way down in. But at least for now, since I'm still, in the Stone Age stage of this challenge, it won't do me any good to actually go down there and get anything like iron or redstone or anything anyway. So, as things stand, that's about where I am at the moment. My plan for this episode is I want to get at least the foundations and starting on the City Hall, which I think I want to build over on that hill right there. I will have to build a road over to it. That was part of the challenge, is that all the buildings must be connected by some sort of path or road structure. I mentioned in, I think, the first episode that I can be kind of anal retentive about certain things. This grass is one of them. I don't know why, but I really don't like it most of the time. It's okay as an accent in gardens and stuff, but just sitting around, like, where I've got my house or whatever, I always get rid of it. I just don't like it. But I'm going to get rid of this chunk of dirt out here in front of the house. Oh, finally used up that wooden shovel. So let me build a stone one, and then... Okay, so this, I want to clear this out, and then I'll start, because this is on an area where it's all these, like, there's the little pond over there to the right, and there's the river that cuts through here with where there's a sea or an ocean. I haven't really explored it to see just how big it is yet. And all these little hilltops and such. I think what I want to do is have some bridge structures that arc between the different areas, which that's certainly something I can do now with having access to stone. So that's actually going to be the first task, is to make a bridge from, well, about here to right across the river. Just so I don't have to be climbing up and down the hill every time I do that. And I might as well clean this up a little bit. Some stairs here. But for now, let me make a set of stairs. A couple sets of them at least. That should be enough for the near future at least. So I think what I want to use is gravel for the actual path, although I didn't check while I was in here. I don't think I really have any. Nope, I don't. So for now, the path will have to wait until I find some, and if I don't find a decent stockpile of it anytime soon, I'll just use cobblestone or something. But in any case, I want to go... I think I want the path right up against my wall. So I'll have it be like here. Whoops. So the only thing I don't like about stairs is that when you break them, all you get back is the single piece of whatever material they're actually made from. So I can do that. I think I'll have it go up twice. 2 little sets of stairs. And then run across. I may end up changing the bridge later. I may make it either 4 or 5 wide. That was a mistake. In order to put, like, railings on the side of it, just with the fence posts. But, oh. I'm making all sorts of mistakes today. But at least for now, this just 3 wide will do. It's Stone Age. They didn't worry much about architecture, so as long as it's functional, that should be all I really need. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the city challenge so far. It's a nice little twist on the normal structure of doing a single-player Minecraft world. I've got another single-player world that I'm doing that I'm not going to do a Let's Play or anything on, but it's a really neat map that I ended up generating, and I didn't even have to go very far to find the cool stuff. Just a lot of really neat-looking mountains. Whoops. And a lot of really neat-looking mountains and floating islands, massive plateaus that just aren't supported underneath. One of which actually has a big ravine underneath it, so it's like the ravine sort of has a ceiling, but it's because the plateau is there. Overhang, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, perfect. And I think this little area looks nice and flat. I'll actually remove this initial hill, just this top layer. And I won't make you sit through this, so I will be right back. I'll end up getting rid of most of this grass at some point, but for now I can just leave it. So, I'm going to make this little bit just drop back a bit. But then, we'll lay down at least the foundation for town hall building that I have to place. And I figure this building should probably be pretty big and somewhat fancy looking, I guess is a way of saying it. So I will do that. It should certainly be long enough for a side wall. This area up just a little bit. I can keep building at least for a little while. If I have to, I can always go sleep really quick. Makes it longer than it is wide. I'll go out a few more. Yeah, so the requirements for this building, whoops, are that it has to have a meeting room, a treasury, and another room of some sort, like an office or, you know, whatever I want to do with it. It actually won't fit like that. I'm gonna try to get, I guess that's mostly the center, so that right there is one of the main reasons why I hate the wild grass. It's because if you misclick just a little bit, then you end up placing blocks on top of it that you didn't want there. I'm going to fill this in just a little bit so I have room to make this building squared off. Should be good. Okay. So that should be more or less the center of the building. I think I actually want to do it as single story for now, with I'm going to make the second room more of like a balcony, like looking out over the room, I suppose. So it'll sort of be 2 stories, but it's mostly just going to be that it's a, what are they called, a cathedral ceiling. So just a really high room. And I will have stairs going up to a second floor that'll just be an office type area. And then the treasury that I have to build, I think I'll put in the basement. Just because that makes more sense to me to put something like that down underground where it's a little bit more protected. Whoop. It's 3 tall. I guess I need to go probably 6 tall at a minimum. And I'm going to put an angled roof on it. Again, so I have room for the, whatever it'll be, mayor's office type thing. Underneath the actual roof, but high enough that it won't interfere with the room itself. Again, I'm not entirely certain what else people might want out of a Let's Play like this. You guys are welcome to give me suggestions in the comments or whatever. I'm just having fun building and... crap. Just doing the challenge in general. Oh, take off this helmet before I fight the skeleton. And a creeper. There we go. Skeleton over here too. Ha! See what I mean? Like the other enemies in this look kind of cool. Except for the creepers, which just look really lame. They look like stuffed animals. That's okay, though. I still like the texture pack. Come back, cow. There we go. Ah, crap. No leather. I think the spiders look really cool. Hey, cool, a spider eye. Well, it's one of the new items for this update. Or one of the pre-releases of this update. I, at this point, don't remember what they... added in when. They've done so much with it. That's one thing that'll be fun. I'm putting specific restrictions on the challenge despite them not actually being listed, because I think the challenge was actually made during like 1.7 or 1.8 initially. But for example, one of the things I'm going to do is until at least the next stage, I'm not going to use any form of, any of the potion making or anything like that. I know I'll be allowed to, definitely within the next stage. I'm not sure about this one, technically, for the potions. I guess not, since I'm not allowed to use diamond yet, and I would need diamond in order to make the nether portal. But at whatever point I can do that at, I'll start doing some, enchantments and things of that nature. Just because I think the system's really cool and I haven't had a chance to play with it very much. But I have a feeling that playing through all of this, I'll probably get quite a few levels and be able to justify spending them on enchanting some items. The stairs in there because I don't need any more of those at the moment. Okay. And time to sleep. I don't feel like having to attack a whole bunch more stuff tonight. If I'm lucky, this will get me some free materials. Like the skeleton I can see on fire over there. I've found several threads on the forums that are giving me some good ideas for stuff I want to do as far as architectural style and things like that. I've never been terribly good at designing buildings freeform, so that's one of the things I want to work on with this Let's Play, is to try to get some more practice doing that and see if I can't develop a good style, better than what I've got at the very least. Just I've made several builds that are things that are actual things. Like I made one build on the server I used to play on of the Tower of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. The ones they show in the movie with the big eye on top. Which I did the eye in lava with the iris as obsidian, and it came out really cool. The At least some of the people on the server that saw it were really impressed with it, and I was pretty happy with the way it actually came out. This is going to be over here for a while. I'm going to put down a workbench. I figure I can add that to the treasury or the mayor's office once the rest of the place is ready. Oh, this will be a nice big room too. Perfect. And it's tall enough. I think I want to raise it a little bit more, but then it should be pretty good. So yeah, so I did the Tower of Sauron, just screwing around on the creative server that I've got, that I run for me and my friend. I've got a massive TARDIS that I made, which for those of you who might not know is the time travel spaceship type thing from Doctor Who. It actually looks like an old style British police box. Sort of similar to a phone booth, not really, but that kind of gives you an idea of the dimensions and such. Just a blue box basically with a light on top. And so I made one of those out of mostly wool just to get the blue. And it's... I'm trying to remember the because we just made it like last week. I want to say it's like 78 blocks tall or something like that. So in order to actually place it, I had to go into... And I mean, the server map we play this creative stuff on, we just do it just to screw around with it. We're both in creative mode all the time, and so we have access to whatever we want. We're just making cool stuff that we can think of without having to spend hours upon hours gathering all the materials. Especially for something like that, when I would need it to be blue, and it was... I'm guessing thousands of blue blocks of wool, which I can't even imagine how long it would take to gather that on a creative or a survival map. So we did it that way. It came out looking pretty cool. I used MC Edit to dig a hole, like a massive pit that's probably 60 or so blocks square, just to have room for it, because otherwise it was too tall and you hit the height limit long before you ever managed to finish it. And I built a few other odds and ends of cool things. Nothing compared to what I've seen a lot of people do. You know, I've been on servers where people have done to scale models of the Colosseum and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. And I never even come close. I'm hoping that in doing this challenge, I'll build like a little medieval city that'll be at least comparable to something like that as far as impressiveness is concerned. Okay, so we've got this stone of the building in place. I want to use wood. I put the stairs in the chest before. I shouldn't have done that. So, oops. Get that. I'm going to take this back. Just because I don't know how much I'm actually going to need to use. Shovel there. Okay. So I want to use wood up on this top surface. And I'm going to have steps. And them stick out a little bit like an eave. And I know the building's just square, but like I said, I'm not terribly good at the freeform stuff. I mean, I'm working on it, but I definitely need some more practice with it. Oh. No, I was holding down the shift key. That's okay, I need more stairs anyway. I don't have anywhere near enough. Okay. I do know one of the things I would like to do later on, as far as a build is concerned with this server, or with this map, is to have a big, like a cathedral or an abbey. I actually went to England a couple of years back now, a year and a half ago or so, and one of the places I went to was a place called Fountains Abbey, which is part of the National Heritage Foundation, protected type thing. Similar to like our historical, like protected sites here in the U.S. And it was really, really cool. I guess it was 13th century. A bunch of monks that used to live there, some order that I can't remember the name of now. I still have the paperwork somewhere. I'll have to dig it out when I get ready to do something like that. But the cathedral was in ruins. I mean, the abbey that used to be there, they had a big map that could show you, what was what way back when. So you could kind of walk around the ruins and, kind of envision what was any given room. Like, you could tell within seconds of walking into it, and without even consulting the map, which room was the actual cathedral section of it, because it was just massive, and the ceiling was probably 40 feet in the air at least, with massive columns and archways, most of which were in ruins at that point, but that, had obviously gone up to it, or still did in a few cases, that supported all the stonework, and everything was stone. It's old enough that all the wood and whatever that might have been part of it had long since rotted away. And it was just really impressive to see. The grounds themselves were still really cool. There was a river that, or a creek that kind of flowed around and through the whole thing. That it's what they had used for water. I mean, the cathedral was built along the direction that the river flowed, so that the entrance to the cathedral was actually, or the abbey was actually where the water flowed underneath it, and then it would come back out. And that was actually where they had the toilets, was a section that they built that stuck out over the creek. I mean, they didn't have plumbing or anything back then. It was all outhouses and things like that. And so... Sorry, I'm trying to count and talk at the same time, and it doesn't work so well. So, in this particular case, they just built so that the toilets opened up right out to the creek itself, and that way the creek would wash all their waste away, and the drinking water that was used, or cooking water, was drawn from where the creek initially went under the abbey. I think it was a water wheel or something that they had there. Because I'm sure they also used, they probably had a mill for flour or whatnot. And, so it was, for their time period and such, it was actually fairly ingenious. Just the amount of effort that they put into it and the amount of thought they put into it to be able to build it like that and know enough to be drawing water from the section of the river that they hadn't soiled. I don't know, I just find stuff like that fascinating. I know I'm kind of droning on, but I find stuff like that really, really interesting to see and read about, just because I'm from the U.S., I've lived here my whole life. I've not even traveled all that much. I mean, I've been to Canada a couple of times, and I've traveled around the U.S. a lot, but that's primarily been it. And we don't have anything here that even begins to compare with the, age and grandeur of what they've got over in Europe or Asia or other places. It's just mind-boggling, some of it, and it's really cool to see firsthand. I mean, you can read all sorts of things about it and do as much research as you want, but there's a very different, it's very different to just read about it in a book or look at pictures or even videos online, documentaries and such, than it is to actually go there and touch it and walk through the ruins and such like that. There was another thing that we went and saw that was, it was an old Roman bath from, I mean, I don't even know how old that was, before we ever hit 1000 AD. And obviously it was ruins, but it was from when the Roman soldiers had initially conquered the southern end of the British Isles. I mean, that's what they called it back then. And it was just their bathhouses. It was just kind of sitting like off, it was on the edge of a bike path. I mean, they've just built like all of the countries over there, from my understanding, have basically just built around all of this to, again, to those of us in the U.S., like ancient stuff. And that makes me think that another thing that I've got to build as part of this challenge is a castle, and I'm already thinking I know what I'm going to base it on. It's a castle called Alnwick, which is in Northumbria, somewhere in, I think, central England. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up again. But it's where they filmed the Harry Potter films, at least some of it. Like, that's the castle they use as the basis for Hogwarts, which I just think is kind of cool. And the family that owns it actually still lives there. So they call it a living castle. But it's a really neat old castle, and so that's the one that I've decided I'm going to base the castle I have to build for this challenge on. But with that, I mean, I've gotten a good share of the town hall completed. I'll finish it up next time because I'm now running on, 24, 25 minutes. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.